start the recording. Okay, so we're looking at question 1.3, and we're looking at slides 19 to 25. But in particular, we're going to spend a bit of time using Nelson Mandela as our person to contextualize the whole theory, because a lot of the theory can be argued was based on his behavior during the 1995 World Cup. So when we think of managing change and taking an organization through change, the simple truth is taking South Africa from what we were prior to 1994 to democracy was a massive, massive change effort. Right. Why would I use Nelson Mandela as my example as a transformational leader, other than the obvious that I've just stated, taking us to a democracy? What characteristics does he have that would suggest that he is a transformational leader? I love that saying there. So we see evidence in there, not just the transformational leadership, but we also see evidence of servant leadership. And we'll talk about servant leadership in due course. Why do we use Mandela as a transformational leader example? If you ever get an opportunity while we're waiting, adjusting from the old to the new. If you ever get an opportunity, please do yourselves a favor, and a lot of you are so incredibly young. In fact, all of you are so incredibly young that you won't remember the 1995 World Cup. It's beautifully, beautifully displayed in Invictus. I don't know if anyone has seen the movie Invictus, and in particular, it is absolutely astonishing how Morgan Freeman plays Nelson Mandela in that movie. The depiction of Nelson Mandela is astonishing. There are moments in the movie that you believe that you are watching Mandela and not Morgan Freeman. Who has seen Invictus? Please don't watch it for the rugby, because holy guacamole, Matt Damon is half the size of Francois Pienaar, and his fake Afrikaans accent is incredibly frustrating, or his fake, I suppose, South African accent. No one's seen Invictus? Do yourselves a favor whenever you get an opportunity, and it often comes around on DSTV, to just remind us what fantastic changes were made during 95, and how Mandela used the 1995 World Cup as a way of binding the nation, of moving us to a new future. So the reason we use Mandela is because he is the single best example of a transformational leader. If we look at transformational leadership, then come on. Okay, and you'll see I spoke about Invictus. Have a glance at the movie. It is astonishing. It really is astonishing. Don't watch it for the rugby. Don't watch it for Matt Damon being Francois Pienaar. Watch it for the behavior of Morgan Freeman and him depicting Nelson Mandela. Right. And yeah, there's a whole discussion that I'm supposed to follow, but I'm not doing that. Guys, I think transformational leadership is based around the influence of a leader on followers. It is based around those key integrity elements around trust, the levels of admiration, the levels of loyalty, and then also respect. Now, I know that your generation really doesn't think much of Mandela anymore, because I teach students, and for the last, I want to say, 13 years, there has been a significant shift away from Mandela, and there's a lot of disrespect amongst my students 18, 19 and 20 now, and even up to 25, for Mandela, who sees him as nothing special and who sees him as not having left an indelible impression on the world. But for me, Mandela must be remembered as the leader of the 20th century. He has to be remembered as one of the greatest leaders ever. Having said that, he doesn't make many of the lists anymore because honestly, the generation has evolved past him, but they bloody well remember Martin Luther King more than they remember our own Nelson Mandela. Any comments about Mandela in terms of how important he was for South Africa, how important he was in our history, what he would think of South Africa right now? Please don't type, guys, talk. What would he think of South Africa right now? Guys, why are you so quiet? The FBI, the Secret Service isn't listening. Ramaphosa doesn't care what you say, because I certainly don't care.
He's listening.
Ransom, go. He's listening. Well, yeah, I was going to say screw him, but I'm being recorded. I'm not allowed to say that.
So far, he's gotten off the Balabala issue.
He'll get rid of the any issue. Yeah. Oh, you guys can blackmail me so badly. Ladies, gents, is Mandela as important as I consider him in our history, or is he just someone who could have easily been replaced by someone else? Absolutely important. I agree with that. For me, he is the greatest leader of the 20th century, without a doubt. Think of him as that kind of leader. And other than Barack Obama, I struggle to find any other world leader that measures up to that. And I'm not going to talk about the world leaders from World War II and the kind of romanticism that we have for them. So when we look at transformational leadership, oh my gosh, Sishangule, he would be seriously disappointed. He would be rolling in his grave. I think they are an embarrassment. They are seriously an embarrassment. I am blown away from the top, and I was the biggest Cyril Ramaphosa fan. Oh yeah, no, but I think also there are parties that thrive on the division in South Africa. I think there are definitely parties who thrive. The bigger the division, the bigger the hatred between races, the bigger the notion of racism being alive, the better they do at the polls. So I also think we have people that are very divisive. The idea of kill a boer, kill a farmer. It is problematic for me, and it is as offensive as anything else anyone else can say. But those people don't belong in South Africa. They don't belong here. They belong to the past. They must go find a struggle to fight in other countries, or get hit by a truck, which would also be a good option. So a transformation leader is about the role they play in an adaptive organization. You guys will remember from strategic management last year. I'm being recorded again, boy. From strategic management last year, you would have learned about dynamic capabilities, those capabilities that allow an organization to reinvent itself. And part of those dynamic capabilities are often the need for a leader, that acts as a catalyst, that acts as a driver of the change, the person that sees the environment and the opportunities and the threats and acts as a way of getting teams excited about a new future. And part of that is creating a vision. Now, I'm always amazing when I ask about visions. The first vision that people will talk about is Martin Luther King, I have a dream. I'm tired of I have a dream. Mandela had a vision. What was Mandela's vision for South Africa? Thabo Mbeki had a vision for Africa. Zuma had, I don't know. Let's not talk about Zuma. His vision was focused on young women. I have not heard what Cyril's vision is. Our friend Julius Malema has division in Kanla. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm so clever. Nothing. Absolutely. Guys, tell me, what was Mandela's vision for South Africa? Come, you can look for it. Julius has division. That's all he has. He has anger. The wealthy man who flies first class, who lives in Sandton, representing the poor. Gotta love it. Gotta love the irony in that. Gotta love it. It's a rainbow nation. It was very much that kind of thing. And he described it so beautifully. But for me, this was an individual that had a sense of where South Africa could be. And it's such a beautiful way of describing that, this rainbow nation living together. Now we see people going after division, people benefiting from any racial incident that happens, because everything is racism. Everything is masked as racism. The building in Johannesburg burning down and 76 people getting killed, getting blamed on apartheid and the divisions. And I think, yeah, well done, lady, for not doing your job. Guys, so in terms of these kinds of components, this is an important part of transformational leadership, and I would focus around this when I discuss it. Yes, there it is, Deborah Lynn. Absolutely. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful description. Beautiful, beautiful description. That was very, very cool. Okay. Wow, 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 wow. Guys, also please have a glance, and if you want to see something else incredibly powerful, and you know, I'm so easily distracted because I am an African. Thabo Mbeki. Thabo Mbeki. Where is that? Let me just open it for you. I'll do the nice one. I'll do this one. I don't think we can watch it through the connection. It's too useless. VC Learn. No. Control C. Have a glance at this. Bugger off, man. Sorry, let me close this. It's killing me to learn. It's also killing my machine. Hold on a second. If you want to see what a vision is, watch this. It is a beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. Yes, that's the one, Ransom. It is that one. Let me try and get the channel, the link shared, but I think I've just broken my connectivity here. Okay, please have a look at that. Sorry, that just sprung to mind after Deborah's beautiful description there. Okay, guys, so have a glance at that after, right immediately after. It is so well worth watching. It's been in particular that one played against the backdrop of the music. Guys, in terms of the kinds of things we saw from Nelson Mandela, the first one, idealized behaviors. I think for me, the biggest thing there is here's a guy that's locked up for 27 years, and the first thing he decides to do is to forgive. If I was locked up for 27 years, my decision would not be to forgive. But it's the morality of the individual, it's the ethicality of the individual, the idea that you can be locked up for so long and come out and forgive. The second one is that vision. I mean, the clear vision for Africa, which I think, Debs, you described really nicely. He also did the whole intellectual stimulation thing wonderfully, in that he had people question their previous assumptions. One of my favorite bits in Invictus is after his release, he then had obviously a security detail appointed to him. After he became president, he then had an opportunity to select his own security detail. After he selected his security detail, he gave an instruction during 1995 to the leader of the security detail to appoint previous security police, white Afrikaner security policemen in most instances. Now, if you think of appointing the enemy, that almost is appointing the enemy. And this guy had huge issues with it, but he had to learn that previous assumptions about what the rules of the game are were to be changed. And what was wonderful is once these guys, and honestly, when you are a policeman for the right reasons, if you are part of a presidential protection team, you will take a bullet. And the simple truth is, every single one of these white Afrikaans ex-security policemen who had phenomenal training, who the day prior to Mandela's release would have arrested him on the spot, did this phenomenal job of becoming his security. These guys who literally had instructions to arrest him became his protectors and would have taken a bullet for him. Please watch, please watch the movie Invictus. And it's a wonderful example of how that lead of his security had to question his assumptions about everything. And you'll see in the movie how these white Afrikaner security police just changed their approach to things. The second one is individualized consideration. And this is my favorite part of the movie. My favorite part of the movie is that during this time, there was a decision and there was a bit of discussion between Francois Pienaar and Mandela to take the World Cup and rugby to the townships, and to also just remember to make it the people's game that it is now. I mean, the one game for me that has been completely transformed is rugby, and we've got an astonishing captain, and to me, he's our new version of a Mandela. I think he is a global icon. He's an African icon, and he's a South African icon and a legend. And he's the most humble human being in the world. Having said that, they're taking rugby to the community. So the team arrives at this community hall. It is wonderfully clean. There are a bunch of dignitaries and VIPs waiting, and Mandela gets introduced to each of them by his secretary. I can't remember the white secretary, white Afrikaans secretary, and I know that I'm talking race here, but I think you'll see when you watch the movie that that's done with purpose. Individualized consideration. So he meets all of the dignitaries, he meets all of the VIPs. He then goes to turn to walk to the back of the wall, and his secretary says to him, "Sir, you've met everyone." She said, "No, I haven't." And at the back of the hall, the cleaners that had gone and worked to prepare this community hall were standing lined up just to see a glimpse of this human being. And he introduced himself, and he met and he spent the same amount of time with each of the cleaners as he did with the dignitaries. And it's that kind of individualized consideration, because the simple truth is, most of us don't even know who our cleaners are. Most of us couldn't care. In particular, when you're meeting a group of VIPs, the cleaners don't matter. The cleaners honestly don't matter. And then those idealized attributes, the behavior of the man, putting on Francois Pienaar's number 6 jersey. I mean, going to a group of supporters and say, we are going to adopt the Springbok as our national symbol for for rugby. That kind of behavior, there's a lot of idealized attributes and a lot of things that he's done that should be admired. Please watch Invictus, guys. If you can find it, if you need to download it illegally, please do. Please also watch the Thabo Mbeki link. Right, guys, I'm going to stop there because I just want to quickly go grab a glass of water. I will see the research group at I will see the research group at past. Any questions, any comments? Sorry, I do get a bit passionate about this one, but I would love for you guys to watch Invictus. That's your homework. And then also immediately after, watch Thabo Mbeki's I'm an African speech. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much, my amazing class. Sorry that it's taken a bit of time, but we had to